Hello everyone, here in Pike National Forest on a beautiful Colorado day, and I'm taking time out from a little scouting trip here to check some trail cams, and we're going to talk today about systems. The reason systems are important is because we all have them, whether we're aware of it or not, and if you're not, it's very important to be aware of it because they can either set you up for success or set you up for failure. I'll give you a quick example of what I mean. Every night or every morning, whenever it is that you pick up your toothbrush, you put some toothpaste on it, you do it the same way. Like either you put water on it first, or you put the toothpaste and then water on it after, or you start with this side, or start with that side, or inside or outside, or however it is that you brush your teeth. Day after day, you'll tend to do that in the same way. Your brain has to create these systems in order to take pressure off of itself for thinking. Like if you had to think about brushing your teeth every time you picked up your toothbrush, your brain would start overloading. You think about all the simple, mundane things that you have systems in place for so that it frees up your brain to do other stuff. That's beneficial. The downside to that is if you're not aware of your systems, they could be sabotaging you in ways that you're not even realizing. And I can give you a very practical example of this. Over the course of 2020, I dealt with, for 8 months, recurring pain. It was sciatica pain going down my left leg. And I talked a little bit about this in my pronghorn hunting video. That was one of my earliest hunting videos I put on my YouTube channel. But I mentioned in there that I had this ongoing back pain. It was in my lower back and going down the back of my left leg. And by the time I went on my pronghorn hunt, it was so bad that I did that hunt about 100 to 200 yards at a time. I'd get that far, I'd have to stop, I'd have to stretch, I'd have to wait for the pain to die down so I could keep moving again. I logged almost 21 miles in public grassland doing that antelope hunt, about 100 to 200 yards at a time because that pain was so bad. Once it finally got diagnosed as a hip injury and I started going to physical therapy for it, one of the first things that this physical therapist noted was a weakness in my right hip. And they concluded the weakness in my right hip was due to the way that I had been walking. And I wasn't even aware of it. And they think that probably at some point there'd been some kind of minor little injury that happened to this thing. My body started compensating for it. And even though that injury got better, and I didn't even thought about it maybe even for years, I still kept walking that way to the point where this hip got weak. This hip was overcompensating for this weak hip. And then this hip finally gave out and started causing my leg pain. So little small details that, of course, I wasn't trained to notice. So I just went about my life not realizing that my system was setting me up for failure. Now you think through everything that this can apply to, almost everything that you do is some kind of system. One of the reasons I'm out here today doing the scouting trip and setting up trail cams is because the unit we've been formerly hunting was out on the western slope. It's almost 5 hours drive away from where I live. I can't get out there and scout regularly. We barely make it out there one time in the summer to scout, and that's not enough to follow the local herd and figure out their patterns and habits and stuff like that and be able to show up on day one, opening day of the season, and be ready to start going to work. So I'm trying to improve my system. I'm finding land that's closer to where I live. I can come out here and scout it regularly. And hopefully I can improve my odds of success and my understanding of these animals I'm trying to follow going forward. It also applies to your life skills. Big one, let's say communication habits, or your diet, or your exercise, your sleep patterns, the things that you do with your spare time. A lot of these things are just habitual. You go through the same cycle and do the same things and don't really think about what you're doing. And obviously if you extrapolate that over years, it can either set you up for success or set you up for failure. The good news about systems is if you don't like what happened yesterday, tomorrow's a new day and you get another shot at it, okay? The bad news is if you don't do something different than what you did yesterday, then you're going to end up living the same day all over again. And then the same week all over again, the same month all over again, the same year all over again. So the next question is going to become, how do you improve? This ties in directly to the concept I talked about last time of the foraging cycle, where you go around and around and around confronting obstacles and trying to improve and get better. And because what you're really doing is improving your system so that you're constantly setting yourself up for success. Now, how do you expedite that process and improve your systems at a faster rate so that you can get better at what it is that you're doing? I'm going to talk to you about that next time, so stay tuned. If you found this useful, please feel free to like and subscribe, and especially hit that notification bell because the next one is going to be a really good one.